Everyone. Today we are going to discuss different types of terminologies which are used in drawings, and we will understand them with practical examples. So you may have heard the term like tender drawings, IFC drawings, shop drawings, as-built drawings. These are the different types of the drawings which are built at the different stages of the construction. These the names can be a little bit confusing at first, but when we start explaining them into the practical examples, it will be easy for you to understand how these drawings are built and at what stages these drawings are built and how these drawings moves from the bidding towards the construction and finally to the completion. So I will explain each type of these drawings with the practical examples. So by the end, you can clearly understand how these different type of designs fit into construction project. Now let's start with the tender or bidding drawings. Imagine you are an owner and you want to build a house or a factory or a shopping mall. So before any contractor is hired, the design consultant or the design engineer prepares a set of drawings and issues them for a bidding. So these are called the tender drawings or the bidding drawings. So their purpose is simple. They help the contractors to understand the scope of work and estimate how much that project will cost. For example, the drawings may show the floor plans, elevations, structural layout, mechanical, electrical system, all the details will be there, but there won't be enough detailed is it's required for the construction purpose. So these tender and bidding drawings are basically developed so that the quantities can be taken off and the contractor can estimate the quantities and can calculate the quantities and submit their bid. So when you hear the tender drawing, there's only just one purpose. The tender drawings are only for the purpose of submitting the cost for the project. So there will be enough detail so you can take off the quantities, nothing else. Next comes IFC drawings. Once the owner selects the contractor and awards the project, the design team will issue an other set of drawings called IFC drawings. IFC stands for issued for construction. So these are basically official drawings which can be used to construct the project. Compared to the tender drawings, IFC drawings contain much more information. Now let's take an example. Let's take an example. Let's take a practical example to understand the basic difference between the tender drawing and the IFC drawing. So basically, the tender drawings are most of the time used by the estimators and the quantity surveyors, whereas the IFC drawing is used by the site engineers, foremen, and superintendents who are going to execute the work on the site. So now let's understand practically from the example what is the difference between the IFC drawing and the tender or bidding drawings. Now for practical understanding purpose, let's say there's a tender drawing which shows 8-inch slab thickness, but when you go and see the IFC drawing for the same slab, that drawing will show you more detail. For example, 8-inch slab thickness will be shown there. Maybe it will show you the detail of the concrete, like 4000 psi concrete is required. Maybe the IFC drawing will be also showing the diameter of the bar, at what spacing these bars are placed, and maybe construction joints, etc. So these all details will be given in IFC. So IFC will be much more detailed than the tender bidding. So practically what happens, let's say for example, if there is in during the tender detail, if there is a beam or column, maybe the detail for that is missing, and the estimator cannot take off the quantities for bidding purpose, so they can submit the RFIs, which is called request for information. So then what happens when the designer updates the IFC drawing, so all these missing details at the tendering phase will be incorporated in the IFC drawings. Now let's talk about shop drawings. This is where many people get confused. Shop drawings are not prepared by the designer. Instead, they are usually prepared by the subcontractors or the fabricators or the suppliers. So their purpose, the main purpose of the shop drawing is to show how actually and how particularly the items will be installed or will be fabricated. Now let's understand practically, basically, what is the difference between then IFC drawing and shop drawing, right? IFC drawings are also digital drawings. Shop drawings are also a detailed drawing. So then what's the difference? So now here, for example, the now let's understand. Shop drawings is basically the responsibility of the contractor, subcontractors, or suppliers or fabricators, whereas the IFC drawings are issued by the engineer or designer, which is hired by the owner. All right, now let's take a practical example. Let's say in IFC, the beam is shown, let's say 18 by 35, and the length is 20, right? It's this is the detail which is shown in IFC. But the shop drawing, the steel fabricator or the subcontractor for this steel work, they will develop a shop drawing for the exact cut length of the beam, the number of holes required for that steel beam, the size of holes, location of these holes, welding details, connection plates, these all details will be shown in shop drawing. So similarly, in shop drawing, the workflow follows the same. Now, how the workflow works for the shop drawing? Shop drawings are first developed by the contractor or the fabricator or supplier. Then it gets approved by the designer or the engineer, where the who has been hired by the client, and then they will go start like procurement and start constructing the work once the shop drawing is approved. So it's not like once they prepare the shop drawing and they can go and start the work. No, once the shop drawing is prepared and approved and accepted by the designer, then they can go and start the work, because the shop drawing is developed by the contractor side, not from the owner side or the owner's engineer side. So that's why. Now let's take another example of the shop drawing. For example, IFC related to the HVAC work, right? IFC shows that the duct size is 24 by 18 has to be installed, but the shop drawing for the same will show what will be the duct route, what will be the elbow size, at what spacing hangers will be installed, where the dumpers will be installed, and how, so before installing these ducts, how they will be coordinated with the electrical, plumbing, and firefighting work. So these all coordination will be made when they will develop the uh, shop drawings. Now finally we have as-built drawings. So the main purpose of the as-built drawings is to show what is actually constructed at the site, and what was and where it's installed. No matter how carefully project is planned, changes happen during the construction. Sometimes the existing utilities are discovered underground, sometimes the field condition forces the adjustments. Because of these changes, the finished project may not match with the original IFC drawings exactly. So that's why the contractor prepares the as-built drawings. So these drawings are the document which will show what is actually constructed. Let's put everything together. Think of project as a journey. First, owner issues the tender drawings, then contractor estimate the cost and submit the bid. So after contractor is awarded, IFC drawings are issued for construction. Based on the IFC drawings, subcontractor or the fabricators, they will develop the shop drawings that will show how the components will be fabricated and installed. Once shop drawings are prepared, approved and accepted, then the construction will take place. Any field changes are recorded in the as-built drawings. So it's a tender drawings, IFC drawings, shop drawings, construction and as-built drawings. So this is the correct workflow of the work.